everyone, welcome to my channel, The Mental Traveler. I'm Carolera, and today I'm going to be talking about the Poldark novels, which were written by Winston Graham from 1945 to 2002. There are 12 books, and the saga comes under the title Poldark, a novel of Cornwall. Still, each book has a different name. For example, Ross Poldark, Demelza, Jeremy Poldark, Warlegan, The Black Moon, The Four Swans, The Angry Tide, Stranger from the Sea, The Miller's Dance, The Loving Cup, The Twisted Sword, and Bella Poldark. The first one is set in 1783 and the last one in 1820. So this is a story about a family through many generations, covering around 40 years. The first 7 novels cover one generation of characters and the other 5 deal with what happens to their children. There have been adaptations of these books. For example, there was one from 1975, which is really well beloved and adored by many Poldark fans out there. And then in 2015, there's this new recent adaptation, and that one has also been well received. And of the first one, there are 29 episodes and divided into 2 seasons. I've only watched the first one though. There was an attempt to continue that story in the 90s, but then it was abandoned. I hope that made sense. And then in the 2015 adaptation, so far there have been 2 seasons, and in this year, 2017, a 3rd season will come out. Before I begin, let me say that this video will have spoilers, so if you haven't read the novels or in all of the seasons or whatever, take care. I was introduced to the story of Poldark back in 2015 when the first season of the most recent adaptation came out. I remember that I saw the trailer and since I'm an Anglophile who loves history and period dramas, I thought it looked really cool. And I watched the first season and I thought it was nice, but it didn't really capture my attention. And then I saw the second season a year later, and as it went forward, I started to really get hooked up with the story, and so I decided to read the books. And I remember that I got them for Christmas of 2016, and I started reading them in February, and by the middle of March I had read all of the 12 books because I just couldn't let them go. They were so addictive. So now I am a Poldark fan and I'm in love with the story and the characters, and today I'm going to start seeing the second season of the 1975 version. So I'm looking forward to that. This is a long family saga set in Cornwall towards the end of the 18th century and the start of the 19th century. It begins when Ross Poldark, a young British soldier, comes back from fighting in the American War for Independence. Once he gets home, he gets this really rude awakening because he finds that his father is dead, his home is practically in ruins, and the woman he wanted to marry is engaged to his cousin. And even though this is all really hard for Ross to take, he is determined to survive, and so he begins to work in the family mine so he can sort of get some balance and an income. There are several storylines in the meantime about his families and the miners that work for him, but one day he meets this young girl called Demelza, and so he hires her to be his kitchen maid. And then some years pass, and when Demelza is 17, she has already been in love with Ross for quite a time, even though Ross is still in love with his former flame, Elizabeth, when he wanted to marry. But stuff happens and Ross starts to fall for Demelza himself. And here I want to stop and point out that Demelza is one of my favorite characters. She was such a fantastic discovery. I mean, her character is just perfect. I think that she's a role model because she's both vulnerable and strong. She's also sweet and passionate, loyal and fierce, and just a really well-written human being, complex with depths and layers. She's like the center of the whole 12 novels, and just as a lot of people can't help but be drawn to her like a moth to a flame, it was the same for me as a reader. Anyways, getting back to the plot, even though Ross has fallen in love with Demelza, he still has some feelings for Elizabeth, but so does his enemy George Warlegan. As you can probably guess, we get a lot of situations in the Poldark novels about love triangles or squares. One person loves another and that person doesn't love that person back, but he loves another one that doesn't reciprocate his love, you know. So yes, these books are rich in love triangles and family feuds, treasons, political intrigues, historical facts. We follow quite closely the effect that the French Revolution had in England, as well as Napoleon's rise and fall. And as I said, after book 7, the novels start to deal with the children of Ross and Demelza, as well as of other of the original characters' children. And I like some of them more than I did others. But yes, again, I have to stress the point that there's some element in the writing of these novels or in the plot or something that's so addictive. I seriously couldn't put them down, and since I love spoilers, I was checking what was gonna happen next to the characters and then imagining how that thing was going to happen. happen, but then it didn't happen that way, and that ended up making me appreciate some characters in a way that I think I wouldn't have done had I not read what was gonna happen. And even though I didn't care for the children as much as I did for the original characters, when one of them dies after a battle, if you've read the books, you know what I'm talking about. Oh my days, I was crying so much. It was such an emotionally poignant moment, and it surprised me that I was so heartbroken because I didn't think I was as invested in that character as I ended up being. And also, even though I didn't really like all of the storylines or like all of the characters' actions the entire time, I really respect this literary treasure that and now the Poldark saga as a whole is my 8th favorite book of all times. So I highly recommend it, and I am looking forward to rereading it throughout the years. Even though there are some novels that I preferred within the Poldark saga more than I did others, I still give the whole saga an overall of a 5 out of 5 stars review. It's always so enjoyable as a history lover to find well-written family sagas with a historical background, and the amount of detailed research that Winston Graham did for these books would make me take off my hat to him if I had one. And then his imagination and commitment to write this story for decades, outstanding. It's so admirable. And as a writer and a journalist, I fell in love with the story right from the start. I was always looking forward to reading more and more of it. The characters were great because even those who are villains, for example George Waller-Legan, as the story progressed, I really started liking reading from his point of view. But yes, these books have it all. They made me laugh, they made me cry, but they made me feel so emotionally invested in the characters that when I was done with the last one, I felt that I had lost a friend. Well, maybe not lost, since it was really nice to see how it all turned out, but it was really bittersweet because I didn't want to let go of Ross and Demelza, George Waller-Legan, Geoffrey Charles, Caroline Penvennon, and Joyd Ennis, Drake and Morwena, Chloe, and so many more. But well, for the moment, this is all I have to say about the Poldark novels. Thanks for watching my review of them, and whether you agree with or not in anything I said here, please let me know because I would love to discuss Poldark with you. In the description box below you can find links to the Goodreads page for the novels, and next week I shall be posting my review for Poldark, the 2015 adaptations, the first 2 seasons, as well as the series from 1975. And when that's uploaded, I will post a link to it in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching. I'm Caro Herrera, the Mental Traveler, a Poldark fellow fan, and I hope you all have a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. Goodbye!